Get the bag of cheese.
And do what?
Go down the chimney.
Down the chimney. You want me to take the cheese down the chimney in a stranger's house in my underwear? Arr, arr, arr.
I'm offended on behalf of cheese in a bag.
And I'm gonna kill Santa. Yeah. Hello, I'm Jesse McAnally.
And I'm Andrew DeWolf.
And I'm Liz Eston.
And welcome to the Cheese Wheel, a hyperfixation podcast where our topics are gambled on a big wheel. And today we have an extra special guest. I am actually very excited about this. If you listen to the previous incarnation of our show, you will know that this is one of our recent regulars that we love to have on. You will know them from Big Beak Entertainment on the YouTubes, and is truly one of the best up-and-coming YouTubers when they first started coming onto the show. Now they're bigger than God. Please join me in welcoming Big Beak from Big Beak Entertainment.
Hi, thanks for having me on.
Hey!
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
I guess not.
Thanks for having me on, now that I've finally been verified by YouTube.
It took a minute.
Your growth really makes me so happy, and watching that happen has been a true unparalleled joy.
It was so funny because the first time you had me on, I probably had like 2,000 subscribers. It was after I did like the first Peanuts video. And then at the very end of it, or even I think in your like initial email that you sent me, like your cold email was just like, you know, I've seen a lot of YouTubers, you're going to be big. And I am like, I've gotten that comment every day, like for the last like 3 years, and I'm still at 2,000 subscribers. And then it actually did happen. So Jess is the prophet. Yeah. He's the key to all this.
I am the harbinger.
You know, he has some insight. He
does.
was big on YouTube back when it was XX Jess World was
XX Jess World 69.
XX69 Jess World XX
18 months.
The thing is, I literally just had someone comment on like a YouTube video that's relatively new. Like, Jess was my first YouTube crush, and I'm like, oh, I don't like that at all.
I remember telling Jess I watched his videos in high school before I actually met him, and he freaked him out.
I don't like that at all either.
When I was on your patron live meetup, somebody said that they watched the videos with my dad, and that was I was honestly very like charmed by that, but in a way that like I had no response to. I was just like, oh, that's so nice. Nobody's ever said something that nice to me. I don't really know what to say. Thank you.
Can't take a compliment.
Yeah.
I mean, a little bit. You know, I was just talking to somebody, like being a YouTuber is kind of a lonely profession because you just sit there and you edit, and then maybe somebody sees it and likes it.
Not like podcasting where you drag 3 other people down with you. Much like Scott Calvin dragged Santa Claus off that roof through murder. Big Beak, why did you choose the Santa Claus to talk about this week?
Well, I gave you a couple of options, and I was kind of hoping that this would be the one that we settled on. And the answer is I think that everybody's seen it, and I think that there's a lot to say about it. I think that it says a lot about human nature, society, and life, and love, and Tim Allen, and the nature of Santa Claus as our overlord.
You know what? Fair enough. I can't wait to dive into this. This is going to be fun. This week we are talking about Disney's The Santa Claus with an E. Cue the trailer.
The night before Christmas, and children were dreaming of the presents Santa would bring.
Somebody's on the roof.
But this Christmas Eve,
Hey, you!
the unthinkable happened.
You killed him.
Did not.
Now, this night,
If something should happen to me, put on my suit. The reindeer will know what to do.
it's up to them
Let's go!
to save the day. Together, Scott Kelvin and his son Charlie take on the biggest job in the world.
Looking good, Dad.
And though it has its dangers,
Nice teeth.
he thought it was just for one night.
You're the new Santa.
I am not Santa Claus.
You put on the suit, you're the big guy.
What if I don't buy into this Santa Claus thing?
Then there would be millions of disappointed children around the world.
He doesn't want the job,
It was a dream.
but it's growing on him.
I've gained 45 pounds in a week.
Now he's getting into the spirit.
There are a lot hard to keep step, believe me. I want some ballet slippers.
And getting ready for the biggest night of his life.
How could I have done this without you, Charlie?
You couldn't.
Walt Disney presents a timeless tale that will warm your heart,
I love you, Santa Claus.
I love you, son.
lift your spirits, and make you believe.
You really are Santa Claus.
Pretty cool, huh?
Share the merriment and the magic.
Seeing isn't believing. Believing is seeing.
Tim Allen,
Santa?
the Santa Claus.
The Santa Claus was a film written by Leo Benvenuti and Steve Rudnick, directed by John Pasquin, and is based on Santa Murder. The Santa Claus premiered in Hollywood on November 5th, 1994. Remember the 5th of November. And was theatrically released in the United States on November 11th. Don't remember November 11th. On Rotten Tomatoes, the film holds an approval rating of 73% based on 59 reviews with an average rating of a 5.9 out of 10. The critic consensus reads, The Santa Claus is an utterly undemanding, but it's firmly rooted in the sort of good old-fashioned holiday spirit missing from too many modern Yuletide films. The plot of The Santa Claus is, when a man inadvertently makes Santa fall off his roof on Christmas Eve, he finds himself magically recruited to take his place.
There was nothing inadvertent about that shit.
Yeah.
You killed him.
Hey, what are you doing?
What you doing on my roof?
Like, he just sounds befuddled and angry the entire movie. That is peak Tim Allen.
Huh?
Peak Tim Allen is when you cause him pain, I think.
You need to make a Tim Allen soundboard.
That already exists like 100
I know.
times
It's
over.
called The Man Tim Allen. He is a Tim Allen soundboard.
Yeah.
This is a running meme. I don't know why we talk about Tim Allen so much on this show, despite us never covering Tim Allen.
Well, now we are.
Now we are.
We got to talk about the Tim Allen website that we bring up periodically.
We bring this up like every other episode for some reason, even though
yeah.
we've never... I don't think we've ever covered anything with Tim Allen in it.
Have you
No.
seen the Tim Allen episode? Or the Tim Allen
episode.
I don't think that I have.
Well, I get to show you. So if you go to timallen.com, let me just share you with what that looks like. Well, we gotta have that bigger.
Yeah.
Ah, yeah.
Yes, the
Yes.
Tim Allen website. Yes.
The Tim Allen website. in
There
all
it
its
is.
Please describe what you're looking at, Big Beak, for the classroom.
I'm looking at an image that's been so like fried that it looks like I would put it in one of my videos.
Why does it look like Santa Claus is trying to commit suicide as the background of the Tim Allen website with a very faint Tim Allen text over it?
That's the only way out of the Santa Claus.
Frankly, this is maybe the funniest thing Tim Allen's ever done.
It really
so, like,
is.
to be real, you kind of got to give him props.
I think this. I've thought about this a lot since the last time we've had this on there. I think this is his picture of Dorian Gray. I think
This is where all like his like wickedness is,
All his hatred
like
goes.
superimposed.
That's why it's like deep fried.
Every time he says something like weirdly conservative, this website gets worse.
I think that he just somehow
Every time he
is
bitches
ailing
about
and he has to
masculine
keep this up.
decline, his like portrait like degrades one JPEG.
Yeah, so we've covered that. We constantly bring that website up because I think we stumbled upon it while just fucking around on the Musicals with Cheese podcast. I don't know. We were covering
How
a
do you
boring
stumble upon timallen.com?
Well,
I
you
don't
never
know.
have, so.
Have you ever stumbled upon Jim Carrey's old website? There's a lot of weird shit on the internet.
I was there when it was posted.
Yeah.
I remember well. It
Yeah, but
was
Jim
ridiculous.
Carrey's like he's basically like a performance artist now. Like, you know,
Yeah.
I would believe that his website would be weird.
Tim Allen is a man that really wants mainstream success and always has. And he had it for a brief moment when the Santa Claus came out. Now, Big Beak,
You
when
missed
was
your
the first
opportunity
time
to
you
say
watched
when the
this?
Santa Claus came to town.
Oh.
That's not really what this movie's about, though.
No, it's about Santa becoming Santa.
It's not about
Santa's
Santa becoming
a deadbeat
Santa. It's
dad.
about some regular like divorced dad becoming Santa.
It's
This is a body horror movie.
this is body horror.
It's a body horror movie disguised as a Christmas film.
The Santubstance.
The Santubstance. Do not put the substance in this movie in the same sentence. How dare you?
Scott Calvin and Seth Brundle have a lot in common. You know what I'm saying?
I think that the body horror stuff pales in comparison to the sheer volume of legal drama that's in this movie.
It's not as much as the sequels, though.
No, yeah.
I will... You see, I see the Santa Claus trilogy as they're an equivalent to the Star Wars trilogy. I think you've got a good foundation laid in the first one. The second one takes all those and raises the stakes and introduces new characters you're compelled by, and it is altogether a more fulfilling experience. And then the third one is stupid.
That's the best review of Santa Claus 3 I've ever heard.
That's also a very good description of the Star Wars trilogy.
And the Return of the Jedi, you know? So I think this lays a groundwork and builds a world that you want to see more of. Like, that is the most positive I could be about the Santa Claus. Back to my original question. Big Beak, when did you first watch this?
I think that I watched this when I was a child. What year did this come out?
94.
94. Okay, I was not born yet, but I'm sure that I watched it, at some point in my...
Gosh. Okay, now I have to wonder. How old are you, Mr. Big Beak?
I'm 28 years young. No, I'm 28 years old.
Born
living the dream.
96?
What'd you say? Yeah, 96.
Okay. I didn't expect to be older than you.
Or the same age.
Huh.
Hey. Why didn't you think that I was younger?
I don't know. You just feel like someone that might be paternal to me. I don't know.
Jess, aren't you like 40?
Yes, you're 45. Andrew, how old are you?
I'm 46. I was born in 1995, so that makes me about 46, I think, right?
Yeah.
It makes you too old to see the Santa Claus. Did you so you didn't see this in theaters, I guess?
No, I did not. I did not manage to make it to the theaters for this one.
At -2 years old.
But I'm sure I saw it on some crappy 20 pixel CRT TV, in my house when I was 5 years old. I remember this movie, when you're a kid and you grow up with these movies, they end up just kind of baking into the miasma of your personality. You're just oh yeah, I saw that somewhere. And you don't really remember where you were. I owned The Phantom Menace on DVD. And I can't for the life of me remember when the first time I saw that was.
God, we're about the same age, and I remember exactly where I was when I saw The Phantom Menace and the exact moments that I remember a lot of my youth, a lot more than I think my peers do, though, which is...
I did manage to catch, the original Star Wars on VHS, which I think is the only proper way to see them. I mean, honestly, that's the only way you can see, the original cuts. So I do remember the original Star Wars, before Lucas got in there and committed a grave sin that would get him permanently placed on the naughty list.
I watched this on the Disney Wonderful World, the Wonderful World of Disney Sunday show, and I remember it was a big deal because my parents were letting me stay up a little later than usual to watch it. It was 2002, and there was big promo for the Santa Claus 2, which was coming to theaters. And they were like, well, this is on. We'll stay up and make sure you can finish this. And then you got to go to school tomorrow, and you're not going to be a little bitching and be tired, all right? And it was fine. I remember the movie being fine. And the second one looked a lot more fun, is truly my review at the time, because this felt sad.
Yeah, this is very different than the rest of them. I think that they kind of lost what the original one was about. It's a bit like the Rambo series, I think. More than anything, you have the first one, which is almost this grounded portrayal of this horrified man just stumbling into circumstances beyond his control.
That's also how I described the Santa Claus.
Oh, I was describing both. And he just has to make his way through it and, try his best. And at the end, he eventually comes to terms with the fact that he is a monster. So when was the first time the rest of you saw this? I do remember seeing 3 in theaters. I think that was the first one.
I was young enough that when I watched this, it just I don't know. I had this period with Christmas movies where it was just these movies just always existed, right? They're just part of the canon.
Yeah,
this is just a Christmas movie.
Yeah,
and there was really
this
no
and
thought
like the
about
Rankin
like
Bass and like the Grinch.
yeah. You don't think like, oh well, this came out at a certain point. There was a period of time where this didn't exist. Like, no, this is part of the lore. And for me
Yeah.
as a kid, this was just part of the lore.
Yeah,
and
nobody made this. It was just like it spawned into existence. There were no like decisions made around it that like caused it to be the way it is. It just is.
Exactly. And I think what's interesting about did I like it or did I not like it? I didn't really view Christmas movies as movies. I just kind of liked Christmas, so I liked it.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind
You
of
know what I
like
mean?
going to church. Like you're not like, analyzing the Bible for like its quality of writing, You're just going to learn, the lore. And you watch this to learn the Christmas lore.
And honestly,
unlike
to
going
me,
to church where you don't learn any Christmas lore.
The Santa Claus is maybe the most influential to me on the lore of all Christmas movies. I think to me this is the Santa Claus origin. This is where Santa Claus came from. And if you ask me how Santa works, most of what I would say is probably from this movie.
Really? It doesn't work like Red One?
I've never seen Red One, okay?
No one has, if you look at the
No one
box
saw
office.
Red One.
Oh, I saw it. I saw it in theaters.
Was it good?
It was... I could see, like, Red Letter Media, like, really enjoying it on Best of the Worst.
Did he beat up the snowman?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And no.
Okay. No.
Oh.
See, that's interesting. That's a twist right there.
It was like I enjoyed it from the perspective of like, this would be hilarious to like get drunk to and watch, like with your buddies. That's how I recommend Red One.
There's better
movies.
movies.
I do kind of agree with you that this is like foundational, like North Pole. Like this is the North Pole that I see when I think of the North Pole in my head. These are the elves that I see when I think of the elves in my head a little bit too.
There's too much weird shit with the elves. Like, maybe I'm just an adult going into this. The elf stuff made me feel icky. But before we dive into that, Liz, when did you first watch the Santa Claus-y?
I have two older siblings, so they probably saw this in theaters. My sister at least did. So, and whenever it came on TV, it was just on all the time. So it's kind of like with Andrew, it's like it just kind of existed, and it was always on the TV, and it would just be on, and we just watch it and be like, okay. Cool, and I never absorbed it fully because I never watched the whole thing forward, backward. I always caught it in a random spot. So I'm pretty sure I've never sat and watched this beginning to end.
Did you like it?
No! I didn't! It's like watching fucking paint dry sometimes. The boardroom scene is painful.
I gotta say, they kind of blow their load in the first 30, 40 minutes. Like
they do all the cool stuff immediately, and then it's like, oh, Christmas is a year away. Let's do boring businessman and custody battle stuff. And I'm just like, what is this? The fucking Phantom Menace?
It's a strange movie with different parts. Like, I feel like they kind of, at the beginning and the end, they kind of repeat the same part. Because they're like, we're going to do all the Santa stuff at the beginning, where he takes the sleigh and all that. And then at the end, they're like, we're just going to do all that again.
But he's good at it now.
Now he's good at it, and that's it.
They gaslight you to think you had an arc, but
and then the middle is giving Charlie schizophrenia.
Well, I think what's
I
great.
think Charlie's the
about
most mentally stable person in here.
I know.
Charlie like refuses to be gaslit.
I know.
He absolutely refuses. Actually, should we go over the plot because I feel like there's some value in that because it's a little bit like there's lore to this.
I think I have one more thing to say about the Santa Claus lore wise before we do anything. When I was a kid, I just thought Santa Claus was spelled with an E.
Same.
I didn't know about the legal stuff or anything, and this was so much.
Yeah.
This was so much the lore of Santa to me that I just thought that was how you spelled it.
Yeah.
I thought that this movie was about the Santa Claus, and you spell Santa Claus with an E.
Yeah. And then I watched the Santa Claus 2, and then I was like, oh, it's not supposed to be spelled with an E. That's the point. It's the joke. Oh.
I still didn't get it there. I had to grow up first.
I had to grow up. My parents were lawyers, so maybe that's a part of why I learned it quicker.
I learned new info about Liz today.
Yeah, both my parents will have law degrees.
Liz
lore, yes.
Let's go over the plot.
So you got Scott Calvin, an ad executive, who has a son that he does not prioritize in his life very well.
Actually, I want to start from the first scene when he's at his holiday party.
Oh,
because
okay.
literally,
We're going
I think that this movie does a really good job at establishing their characters really quickly. I think that it's, if you're going to take a lesson in script economy from a movie, I think this isn't a bad one to do it from. So the first thing that you see is you're at the holiday party for Scott Calvin's office, Tim Allen, and the big boss says, and we got to be really thankful for our two, brilliant salesmen, Scott Calvin and, some lady. So then they both come up, like two people come up to the microphone, and the woman starts talking, and Scott immediately grabs the microphone from her and just talks over her. And he just says, talks shit about the people in his office. Like, hey, Brian, I see your secretary on your lap, And then he's like, thank you, goodbye. And he turns off the mic. He does not hand it back to her. And then that's his character.
That's the moment I realized I've never seen this movie backward before, because I've never seen that scene before in my life. I was like, oh, I would have hated this movie if I saw that as a kid.
But you have to go on an arc where he eventually learns to respect women.
Kind of?
Does he?
No, he doesn't learn to respect women.
There's a thing,
women in the second one.
Where he gets a wife. Part of this movie that I think is really bizarre is that he does not have a character arc. He is just replaced with Santa. His character just ceases to exist, and he just becomes Santa Claus, and that's it. He doesn't learn anything. There's no he learns a lesson or something happens to him where he realizes he was wrong. No, he just wakes up, and now his personality is Santa Claus.
Yeah.
We should talk about the inciting incident of that change, because I think that's the thing that everybody remembers and jokes about. So how does one become Santa Claus? How does one subject themselves to the Santa Claus?
Well, wait. I think this is actually slightly important to state. In order to one-up his wife's new boyfriend, his ex-wife's new boyfriend, he goes hard into, no, Santa Claus is totally real. How dare your boyfriend try to ruin that?
Yeah, his ex-wife is dropping his son Charlie off for the holidays because that's the custody agreement, is that he has to spend Christmas with his dad. Charlie does not want to be there. The mom is, that's Charlie's character, is he does not fucking like his dad.
Yeah,
and I understand why. Everyone understands.
Yeah, he drives out with Judge Reinhold in a bad sweater.
Yeah,
really
well, that's the other thing is, you get the sense that Neil's really fucking tight ass. Just because he's leaning on the horn, we gotta go. My mom's waiting. And then you get the sense that his wife is just kind of fraught at all this is happening. She's just yeah, I got to deal with this now. Charlie is having to stay with Scott Calvin, and Neil and Laura, I think is the mom's name, have decided to tell Charlie that Santa isn't real. And when Scott finds this out, he is perturbed that I guess parenting is happening without him, and he doubles down on Santa's real. I believe in Santa. And Charlie's like, are you fucking serious?
But that is an interesting, I actually kind of like that as a character trait, where now he has to back his own bullshit for the rest of the first act, basically. I think that's a really effective character plot point that feels in line and is not driven home the way that it would be in any other movie. But that happens, and then he hears something on the roof after going to bed, and oh my god, Santa's for real, and he fell off the roof and died horribly.
Well, Charlie wakes him up, because Charlie hears something on the roof.
Charlie hears it.
And then he's Scott's like, fuck off, Charlie, I'm trying to sleep. And then he hears it, and he's like, okay, there's somebody breaking into my house. Let me go outside and confront this person. And
then he kills Santa.
And he murders a man.
So he sees Santa getting ready to go down his chimney, and he yells, "Hey, you!" And the other guy, who I guess has never ever been seen before or ever heard a human voice, just gets completely panicked and flails around wildly until he loses his balance and slides off the roof into a snowbank.
So I just one thing I noticed watching this. There's a lot of Christmas movies where it's Santa being stealthy and never being seen is really important. This movie does not give a shit. Santa is seen so much in this fucking. It's crazy.
Well, this movie is like a really weird like take on Santa in the sense of like parents are determined to not believe in Santa. Like they're like, fuck you, I will never believe in Santa. I don't care what the fuck you show me. But all of the children on the planet have some sort of innate understanding that this random fat guy with a beard is Santa. Like they just like they start lining up like when he transforms into Santa, they just see him at like Charlie's soccer game and they're like, that's fucking in the middle of July. They're like, that's Santa.
Yeah.
You know. Anyway, no, but then Scott's got a he like
I do want to add some lore here. I don't know if anyone watched the Santa Clauses Disney Plus television event.
I watched the first 5 minutes of the first episode, and then
Well, we learned that Jim O'Hare, aka the dude from Parks and Rec, was the Santa that fell off the roof. And
oh, really?
He referred to as the previous Santa as number 17. He acted in the role of Santa for decades, from the Great Depression to the night Scott Calvin became Santa Claus. He chose Scott after interacting with him as a child one night on Christmas Eve. So he saw Scott Calvin as a child and said, you're going to be...
I think for the sake of the Santa Claus, we should ignore all preceding Santa Claus content. I don't think we should mention the Santa Claus 2 or anything about it, or 3 or any, because it always contradicts itself. I think let's just look at the Santa Claus as it exists. And as it exists, I think that this guy, the previous Santa, was Santa for exactly one house. I think that...
They keep falling off the roof. They keep falling off the roof.
I think that he killed the previous Santa at his house, and then he put on the coat. He got up into the sleigh. He took the reindeer to Scott's house, where
like,
literally on his first descent as Santa, could not hack it, falls off the roof, gets shit canned, and I think this happens literally every time. I think that every night, I think that they go through like 50 or so Santas per Christmas. And I think that when you die as Santa and you fade away like Obi-Wan, I think you just wake up in your bed. I don't think that it's like you die for real, because otherwise there would be like, you know, where are all these like men disappearing to on Christmas Day?
Wow.
You know, I think that like thousands of men die or serve as Santa at Christmas every day. And then Scott comes along and he has to impress his son, Charlie. And he is the only guy who has managed to survive a full night of Christmas. That's
because he does it correctly.
Armor.
He knows how to do it correctly.
I don't think
he's doing it wrong.
I don't think it's that he does it correctly. I think it's that he does it as an asshole. I think it's that he does not give a shit. He just wants to get through it as comfortably as possible. He is not interested in serving the kids. He gets up on the roof. He does not want to do this. He ends up taking the carriage with Charlie by accident. I don't know why the fuck he puts on the coat. You know, just because Charlie told him to. He's like, Charlie's like, Dad, we got to go be Santa now that you've killed him.
He wasn't wearing pants at the time, so I think he was getting cold. So he probably
the coat's not pants.
Well, he was also wearing the pants.
He had his own coat. He took off his coat to put on the Santa coat. He did put on the Santa pants, though. You're right.
Yeah, he put on the Santa pants.
So then he takes off of his roof and he goes to the next house, which very luckily for him is a mansard roof. You know, just pulling out my architect credentials right there to identify the flat roof type.
But he uses the bag as like a balloon. It lifts
well, the bag like does the work for him, and this is why I think that it's like unskilled labor. Like I think that like most of the Santa job is automated because there's no like real like permanent Santa Claus. They just cycle through all these guys who keep getting killed on Christmas. So I think, and then he goes into the first house and he like sets off the burglar alarm, and like there's a guy with a gun and there's like a dog. Like it's a dangerous job being Santa. And the only reason he survives is because he doesn't care enough to actually do it. He just bails whenever things get too hard.
How many other Santas do you think were shot? Because you guys know the original script had Scott killing Santa with a shotgun, right?
Oh, that makes complete sense.
That makes so much sense.
Dude, I want that. Oh my God.
That
they wrote it for two people in mind, neither who played the role, but all of them dirtbags. Bill Murray was who it was written for, and originally Chevy Chase was attached. And
I thought you were going to say O.J. Simpson.
No. No, he'd never committed murder.
He would catch the guy.
Very out of character.
Yeah, if I murdered Santa, I would have done it like this.
He would have fallen off the roof.
Scott Calvin showing up in court. It's like the reverse Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer, where it's like instead of Santa going to court, Scott Calvin is going to court for the murder of Santa Claus.
Guys, he didn't even exist.
Guys, he's not real.
If the pants don't fit, you must acquit.
I can run through the rest of the movie real quick if we want.
Yeah, sure. I think you should because it's important. This is important to my overall thesis of Santa lore.
So the rest of it, he goes to the North Pole. He meets the elves. The elves are like, "You're in charge now. You're Santa," and he's like, "No, I'm not."
Experience with the child elf.
He meets the head elf, Bernard. I do want to say he meets the head elf, Bernard, who everybody just treats him totally contemptuously. Like, yeah, you're Santa. Fucking deal with it. I'm not going to make the presents, or I'm not going to deliver the presents. I'm the head elf. Which makes me think that like the elves are just like they got a really good like union or something.
I'm going to be honest. I had a child crush on Bernard, so I will defend him for the rest of my life. I had a child crush on him.
Oh, I don't think Bernard does anything wrong. I think Bernard's just like the foreman doing his job.
I love him.
It's just very strange because, like, the way that the Santa thing is set up, like, if you want to be Santa, the best way to deal with it would be to just kill him. Like, just catch Santa in, like, a net and then shoot him in the head or something and then wear his stuff, and now you're Santa.
Well,
and
I think, like, the way
the
that
elves
it's
don't
set
seem to
up...
acknowledge that.
Well, no, they do acknowledge that. The one kid, when he goes to Charlie's class for career day, Charlie's like, he's Santa. He killed him by pushing him off the roof. The one kid's like, so let me get this straight. When I grow up, if I want to be Santa, all I got to do is push you off a roof?
He goes to yes.
Yeah,
so,
the last lines of the movie where he's just like, I think I'm going into the family business. I'm going to kill my dad.
Which is very funny because in the second one, he's immediately a naughty little teenage boy and can't be Santa.
No mentioning the Santa Claus 2. We're saving that for next year. I got a whole other thesis for Santa Claus 2.
Oh, there's way more lore in 2.
I will be way
so
too
There's so much. They doubled the lore.
Principal lady.
You will what, Jess?
I'll be too horny on main for the principal lady in that episode.
Oh my god, I fucking knew it. I was watching the Santa Claus 2 and I was thinking, yeah. How the fuck? I've been on this podcast. I've been on this podcast 3 times. How the fuck do I know Jess's type?
It's pretty easy
he never
to
shuts
figure
the
out.
Fuck up about it.
It's pretty easy to figure out. He just mentions
no
his
idea
type every week.
Like.
But so anyway, Scott, like, you know, he goes to bed in Santa's bed. Charlie now likes him because he's got a cooler job.
He's Santa. He's a cool job.
Yeah, all kids like Santa, and he is Santa, so Charlie likes him. Yeah. And he goes to bed, and then he wakes up in his own house, still in the pajamas that he got from Santa's house. And Charlie remembers.
Weird turn, by the way. Why did they send him back to his house?
Well, so Bernard says you've got 11 months to get your affairs in order. You're due back here Thanksgiving, which makes me think that being Santa is not like a real job. That's why I think that they just cycle through a bunch of guys on Christmas. Because Santa does not need to be there to run things. Like the North Pole runs without him. Like he's just got to come back like the last month to like load up the presents or something before he goes.
So in this theory, Scott Calvin's like a one in a million Santa who actually survived more than one rooftop.
Exactly. And we'll when we get to the ending, I will tell you why. Okay. Because there is a reason.
I'm ready to listen to that. But also, I think Santa is kind of like a royal family figure at this point where we don't really do anything. We'll put them up and they'll pretend to work. You know? That's
like the Fred Claus lore. I think so. There's like the lore of like Fred Claus, which is like a Vince Vaughn movie or something where like it's his brother Fred, who's just like the fucking like brother just existing somewhere in the world. But like for the next like hour of the Santa Claus after he gets back and Charlie starts telling everybody that his dad is Santa, it becomes like this harrowing like legal drama of like a divorced man slowly like just losing himself and his wife and her new husband like trying to get custody of Charlie because they think that he has like been brainwashed by Scott into thinking that he's Santa to try to get him to like him. It's like insane.
Which is why setting all that stuff up in that first scene where he goes real hard on the Santa thing just makes the entire movie a little more funny.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, and we also learn why Laura and Neil don't believe in Santa anymore, which is they didn't get like a gift that
he didn't get
they wanted.
A weenie whistle, and she didn't get mystery date. That's some big shit, Big Beak.
Yeah.
Well, he said that he was like 3
mystery date is very important.
I can't believe he remembers being 3 and not getting a present, and that is like the formative thing that made him not believe in Santa.
Well, that's like every adult.
So well for who he is.
That's
like,
every adult, though. Every single adult doesn't believe in Santa because they didn't get a present that they wanted.
So here's my question: if Santa's real, why the fuck didn't he? Why didn't he give them? Why didn't he give them the mystery date? Yeah, if Santa's real, why didn't he give them the things that they wanted?
Incompetent Santa that year.
Yeah, he died. He died that year, and no one replaced him.
I've got a theory, and you guys, this is my entire Christmas Santa lore theory. Santa only delivers presents to the houses of children whose parents believe in Santa too.
Oh my God!
So if Santa knows that the parents don't believe in Santa, they're going to write his name on some presents and give him out for him. I can cross that house off the list this year. I don't got to worry about it. I got to worry about the houses of the people whose parents think that I'm coming. And in this movie, the precipitating event that causes Santa to come to Scott's house is him insisting to Charlie that he believes in Santa now.
Is that why Santa doesn't give gifts to homeless people?
Exactly. Now you're getting it.
Someone call film theory.
Wait, no, because he goes to his son's house, doesn't he? And the parents there don't believe at the end of the movie.
Well, but he's the parent too, and he believes.
That's a nepotism.
Yeah,
it's not his house though. His house is the North Pole.
Yeah, but he's still I mean, honestly, like, who cares? Like,
yeah.
I like my theory. I'm sticking with it.
I think Big Beak thought about this more than the screenwriters at any point, and that's incredible.
Well,
I only see him go to like 3 houses.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, every single house he goes to has a mansard roof that he can land on.
Except for the one with the little girl who remembers.
He treats her like shit the first year and then comes back.
He's like, I remember to give you soy milk.
That's so funny.
This is where Tim Allen really works, is when he's like being a dick. He's really funny as a dick.
That's how he lives his life.
Like him just saying, "You
I think
want
it's
this
funny.
doll?
It has
then
such
go
like
to bed."
It has such a parasocial vibe about it. Like the kid is like, "Oh my god, it's fucking Santa," and then like she meets her hero and he's like a complete asshole, and now she's like got to like really like correct her behavior to try to like get back on his good side next year.
Oh my god!
So yeah. I do want to say real quick as we just to conclude the plot. So Scott has become Santa. He has become Santified. He's Santa pilled. You know, he had a bad day. He's dancing down the stairs as Santa. Hey, when you introduce me, can you call me Santa Claus? And then he's gotten his custody revoked because Charlie won't shut the fuck up about how cool he is as Santa. And then he goes to Charlie's house. He's like, hey, Laura, can you leave me alone with Charlie for like 30 seconds? And then he takes Charlie away with him and abducts him to the North Pole.
That literally happens. Oh my god.
He commits a crime.
Yeah, he abducts his son to the North Pole. And I just want to say he was due back in the North Pole on Thanksgiving. We see Charlie having Thanksgiving dinner with Laura and Neil. So he was gone for like a solid month.
I don't know. I thought that was Christmas dinner. I think that's a stretch.
That was not Christmas dinner.
That was Thanksgiving.
Bernard says, you're due back on Thanksgiving. He shows up on Thanksgiving and takes him with him. Charlie was gone for a full month.
It's been a month.
It's like too real. Like he actually abducted his son.
Yeah.
Santa gets arrested for breaking the custody agreement, kidnapping a child.
Yeah. But
now,
don't worry,
Santa getting arrested is actually holiday lore. That happens like a shit ton.
Yeah.
Going all the way back to Miracle on 34th Street, Santa loves getting in trouble with the law.
Yeah, well, he's got to justify like the elf defense budget for like that flying like jetpack like wet work squad that goes around like just breaking him out of prison every Christmas.
From what I hear, according to Tumblr and Twitter, that lead elf boy was an awakening for a lot of young folks.
He's terrible though. He's a terrible actor.
Yeah. He's got some weird like California accent.
Elves
I find that it's
attitude.
not. I find we get around a lot better if we don't walk, we fly, or some shit. I can't even remember. It's such a fucking weird line, and it's a weird read.
The delivery is awful.
It reads confidence.
No, it doesn't. It reads, I'm reading the script.
I will say, I do think that Charlie's actor is very good. Like, yes, honestly, I think that the Charlie kid, I think he does a great job. I also do want to say, I was going to flag up why Scott Calvin survives, and it's entirely because of Charlie. So when they're getting suited up for their, Scott's first full year or full Christmas Eve as Santa, the head elf comes by and he's like, "Hey, Santa, this is Quentin. This is your cue. He's got some new ideas." And he's like, "Charlie came up with some stuff. This is a fireproof suit. And, this is, this will help you like with falling down the chimney or something." Like they come up with like a bunch of like safety measures in the last like day before Santa like actually goes out. And I was like, you guys didn't have any of this before? Like, no wonder the last guy died.
They wanted him to die. They get joy. It's like the prestige thing with Santa.
I think that they're just union and he's management. I think that's all it is. I don't think that it's anything more complicated than we don't really care. It's not our job. Santa handles means and methods of delivery. We just build the shit.
You're kind of onto something there though. Cause they come out with all the safety stuff and it's like, why didn't they have all this before? And it's just because they didn't give a shit because he just died all the fucking time. And
yeah, exactly.
Like, who cares?
Charlie was the one that came up with all of it too. Like Charlie was the innovator. They were like, me and Charlie been working on some ways to keep you safe.
Yeah. It's like the previous Santa died falling off the roof, which feels like that would be like occupational hazard number 1. Like you're up on a snow-topped roof. Falling off the roof seems like the first thing that would happen.
He should have joined the union. He made his choice.
He's management. He doesn't get to join the union.
Yeah. He's somehow both management and labor. It doesn't make any sense.
This is the end goal of union, is that you get your boss to do all of the dangerous work.
And then when he dies, the union doesn't cover it.
The head of the company just constantly keeps dying.
You know what, Big Beak? You gave me a lot to think about there. How about we go on this break, and then I can think about this, and we can talk about it more.
We do have to do a mid-show, yeah.
Hey guys, sorry to interrupt your email of the show, but we've got a show at you. Today's show is brought to you by the extremely kind donations by our donors over at Patreon. Andrew, tell them a little bit about Patreon and who's supporting us.
Oh man, Patreon is where you can go if you want to get extra content from us. We do meetups, we allow you to request episodes, we do votes on episodes. There's just a bunch of stuff. I'm not going to go through all of it. It's on our Patreon. Go check it out. Our current patrons are Leighton Ackles, Ewan Cassidy, Monica Thoreau, Brent Black, Nathaniel Stacey Coombe, John Vanals, Russ Walker, Musical Hell, Emily Gracie, Janae C., Felicia R., Nothing is Certain Except Beth and Taxes, Thesbian, Chai Teacup, Chris Marcotte, Keisha Marie Anastasio, RJ Noriga, Sebastian Canino, Joe, Bjorn Hermans, Toriana Frazier, Sammy the Adequate Amount Jacobson, Kaylee Blazier, The Omega Geek, Maddie Wargle, Eliza Erdman, Evan Ball, Rora Marasso, Mara, Possessed Washing Machine, Nick Roten, Puffy Boy, Sydney Hicks, Gold Plated Kikimora, Ari Artie, Emma, Carrie Balda, JRL Studios, Alexandra Dom, Fibberty Jiggett, Caleb Bailey, and Andy Bryan.
These folks give us a little extra financial support that helps us keep the lights on here in Musicals with Cheese and the Cheese Wheel. If you'd like to join them, come join us over on Patreon. How about we get back to the show? Hey guys, welcome back to the show. I thought a lot about those theories, and I think it's time for the Previews Letterbox game.
It's time for Previews.
Yes, this is a game where Liz pulled real-life Letterboxd reviews, and Andrew and Big Beak have to go head-to-head to guess whether they're a 1-star or 5-star based on nothing but the review alone. I'm on Team Andrew, Liz is on Team Big Beak. Let's get started. Andrew, you're first.
I'm ready.
They're so mean to Tim Allen for getting fat and liking cookies and candy. Frowny face.
That is a 5-star. That's some emotion right there.
That is a 1! 1, you fool!
Bro, what the fuck, bro? Come on.
So the reason that I asked for Liz the last time I did this is that whenever Jess reads these, he reads them like an asshole. He reads these like a guy trying to trick you.
Yeah, I just read
he
them
succeeds every time.
He gives you his impression, and that tricks you into making you think that it's something. Instead of Liz, who comes by it completely honestly.
Yeah.
Well, what's the point of a game if you're not playing?
If you don't put your finger on the scales.
Well, I'm honored to be preferred by you in this case.
Just if you're on my team,
I just think you're a
win.
little more honest about it.
I'm not. That's not my job. My job is to make entertainment.
I am, though. I had to do this for a different podcast by myself, and I have to like read these for like months at a time. Like, okay, I'm learning how to read these.
I'm pretty sure Alan cheats. Either way, Liz, your turn.
Yeah, Alan might cheat. All right, Big Beak, are you ready?
Sure.
R.I.P. to whoever.
What if I said no? What if I'm just like, no, I'm not ready?
No, not ready.
Wait, hold on. I'm not ready.
Give me like a minute to think.
Okay, give me just a minute to like pull Letterboxd up and like, Control F these.
Good luck. I dug far for these.
Oh, okay, go ahead then.
And a bunch of filters are on these. R.I.P. to whoever the fuck that previous Santa was.
1 star.
5.
Fuck him. That previous Santa did a shit job. Died. Wouldn't have died.
He fell off the roof. I mean,
I would have simply not fallen off the roof.
He fell off the roof.
I would simply have not flailed my arms about wildly at the slightest like sound that I heard.
All right.
Everybody blames Tim Allen. It's totally that guy's fault.
Dude wakes up the whole house.
Tim Allen one little bit.
He's a really bad
on the roof.
Santa.
Shit, Santa. You know, I prefer Santas that don't die on the job.
No. So the one?
The one guy.
Just Tim Allen.
Just Tim Allen.
Andrew.
Yep.
Still surprised that the police didn't shoot Santa down.
That's another common trope, isn't it? They do that in a couple Christmas movies. They love shooting down the sleigh.
They love storming the house like with the police at the end of the movie, like that, and like National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
That's how
Die Hard, or what was the other? Not Die Hard, Lethal Weapon.
So they didn't try to blow up the sleigh in this one because I think they were saving that for a sequel. So we're gonna give this still 5 stars. I think this is still a 5.
That is correct. You're on the board, Andrew.
You guys got to watch
Very
Red
nice,
One.
very nice.
That's a plot point of Red One.
Really?
Is how like the
Does
Air
Santa
Force
go to
like
prison?
escorts Santa through American airspace.
It's fucking stupid. The movie makes me more angry the more I hear about it.
We gotta cover that.
We gotta cover
NORAD's been
Red One.
tracking Santa for 60 years. Not one successful shoot down.
Damn.
There's always next year.
Andrew, put Red
We'll
One
get
on
him
your
one day,
put
guys.
Red One on your wheel right now.
We'll do it in July. Just fuck it.
Oh, you have to.
Who cares?
You gotta.
Yeah, out of season. All right, Big Beak.
All right.
My wife made me do it. ...
5 stars.
It's a 1 star.
We're playing the reverse, right? You're supposed to get it wrong, right?
Yeah, you're supposed to get it wrong and not
Golf
get any
rules.
points. Yeah.
Golf rules. Andrew.
Lowest score wins.
Low score.
I fully believe that my sexual awakening as a child was Bernard, the elf.
I can't believe you read that one.
Damn, you read Liz's review?
Yeah. I will say there was like 10 to 15 of those that basically said, yo, Bernard the elf is hot. And I'm like, okay. Pretty sure it was like
Liz
20.
That's not fair. She already told us what she thinks of it.
Yeah, I have a childhood crush on Bernard the elf.
Liz says she hasn't seen it all the way through, so I'm gonna say 1 on that.
That was a 5, Andrew. They wanted to fuck the elf boy.
Look, at 8 years old, I would have given this a 5. So.
Look, I have voted the past couple episodes 5-star for horny, and I was wrong every single time. So I figured it was time to switch it up.
Yeah. You know,
my skin looks good today.
Shut the fuck up, Jess. Jesus fucking Christ.
Good thing we make video episodes now so we can see how
Who invited this fucking guy? Why is he here?
Just read the fucking Letterboxd review, you Letterboxd monkey.
We literally got the video mandate, and I'm like, I'm still not picking outfits for this. I'm just wearing what the fuck I wore before.
I swear to God, that was supposed to be a thought bubble.
That's how you know that Jess has had a really hard week.
Yeah.
Did I say that out loud?
And then I come in and I'm like, Jess, you're gonna watch Tim Allen's The Santa Claus. You're gonna watch Red One.
Okay.
I don't care. You haven't gotten sleep in the last week.
This wasn't even the hardest thing I had to watch this week.
This was the easiest thing you had to watch this week. Are you kidding me?
Okay, whose turn?
It was Big Beak's turn. I was just letting you have your thoughts.
Damn, my skin looks good today.
Merch. New merch. Is this our ukulele 9/11 of the episode?
Except it only exists, like, between us. Like, there's no outside reference. There's nothing anybody else is going to get or enjoy. It's just us talking about Jess and his fucking
Jess
skin.
is having an actual mental breakdown right now.
Jess is slowly becoming Santa Claus. He's becoming Clausified.
His hair's getting whiter.
Man, my skin looks really pale today. That's exactly what Tim Allen says to himself in the mirror before he becomes Santa Claus.
This is unfucking real. Fucking Joker moment. Oh my god.
The Santa Claus fucking broke us.
God, I'm crying.
This is what is this content? Who is this for?
This is the Broadway Podcast Network's #1 rated podcast. What the fuck do you mean? Who is this for? This is for all those Broadway fans looking for podcasts right now.
Fellas! Here's your Santa Claus content. Jess's skin is looking good.
You gotta edit like a voiceover clip of that as like under the clip of like Scott Calvin looking at himself in the mirror and like suddenly transforming into Santa.
Add some echo so it sounds like a voiceover.
You gotta replace the line where he says, "I'm in big trouble with wow, my skin looks really good today." Anyway, what's the letterbox review, Liz?
All right. So, Letterboxd.
The Letterboxd game, yeah.
What do they have to say? What do they got to say?
All right. Are you ready, Big Beak?
No.
Okay, I'll give you a minute.
No, you give it to me anyway.
Okay. I think murder is how every occupation should be passed along.
Damn. Okay, that's gotta be by Luigi. So,
Luigi's Mansion.
Luigi's a big fan.
I'd like to congratulate the new CEO of United Healthcare.
Luigi Mansion. Get
Luigi.
up there, buddy.
Damn, that'd be fucking wild.
Yeah.
Wait. Your Honor, I thought it was the Santa Claus rules. I thought it was the Santa Claus rules.
I don't think he's actually Italian,
No,
Jess.
he's not Italian. He's American.
What are you talking about? He's Luigi.
Yeah, what are you talking?
Look, that man is a Charlie XCX stand. That's all I know.
Mamma mia.
He gets up on the stand. He's like, "Your Honor, the Santa Claus clearly states that if I put on his coat, I become the CEO."
You wonder why I changed coats so many times? I had to figure out which one was the right one.
The lawyer submits a clip from the movie where Bernard reads him the clause that's really small in the card.
Can we bring in the comically large magnet, please? Or
He pulls out like the CEO of United Healthcare's business card, and he's like, "Read that right there, Your Honor."
I found this card on his person.
It just looks like an ordinary business card. Oh, yes?
Yes.
And then Luigi's like, "Wait, this says I gotta get married."
And then this says Martin Short will take my job.
Martin Short's like, "I'm gonna kill you, the CEO of United
Healthcare.
I'm going for Blue Cross."
God.
Wait, was
Man,
this
I
a
wonder
one or
who
a
gets
5
Epstein
star?
Island. Okay,
No.
anyway, I'm gonna say that's a 1 star. Fuck it.
All right, was that
I
a
don't
1
even
or a
remember
5?
the review anymore.
Correct.
Okay, I'm on the board.
You're on the board.
Has an
All right,
episode
Jess,
gotten
are you
this
ready?
chaotic?
I don't even think the 9/11 one was this chaotic.
it was.
Jess
It lasted.
Okay, I'm going to say this,
derailed this
and
shit.
I'm going to say this, and you should edit this out, Andrew. But I was listening to the re-edit of that one where we cut out all the stuff about 9/11,
Yeah.
and at the very end, Jess says, "And thanks to the Broadway Podcast Network for having us on the podcast and not kicking us off, even though they hit the Pentagon." And that was the only reference that made it into the episode. And it just sounds like so out of pocket. It sounds, not only does it sound out of pocket, but it implies that the Broadway Podcast Network was for some reason behind the Pentagon attack.
I stand by my statement.
We can't prove otherwise.
Yeah. Anyway, just do
the
your
burden
thing.
of evidence is on them. Andrew.
Yes.
Santa Claus overrides his identity and gives him devil eyebrows.
I mean, yes, that is major plot point. Not the eyebrows, but the other. Okay.
Yeah, the exact plot of Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Fuck. I'm gonna go with 1. I think this is a 1.
That is a 5, Andrew. Liz,
Motherfucker.
last round, you
Yeah.
one more, me one more.
All right. Also, I will say that last review was written by Allison Pregler.
Oh, our buddy!
Yeah.
Our buddy Allison!
Yeah.
I missed them. They gotta come back on this show.
Yeah, they do.
sometime.
I found it. I was like, oh, this is a good one. I could do it.
Yeah, I gotta reach out again. I'm just bad. I'm a bad friend.
You're not a bad friend. Our lives are slightly insane right now as a collective.
No, I'm having a bad skin day. I've changed my mind.
Dude, what the fuck
I don't know,
is
man.
going
Your skin
on,
looks
man?
great.
Dude, I have an early.
Can't
We
be
both
doing
have
this.
early morning shifts tomorrow. Like,
We're gonna. All right. What's the next one?
What are you, like 75? You know, your skin looks great.
He's only like 45.
all right, Big Beak, are you ready?
Yeah.
Jingle my bells.
5 stars.
Correct.
Andrew. Scott kidnaps his kid from Thanksgiving to Christmas.
I will say that was written in all caps, so that was an appropriate reading. So-
Okay, Big Beak, would you say that you would call this movie a 1 or a 5 star?
Oh, that's not my review.
Let me see if I can find
I think Jess learned his lesson in the last one where I was able to rig the game by changing my review.
Ooh, that's true.
Okay, yeah, this is a 5 star. They paid attention.
That's a 1, Andrew. You are really.
I'm just off.
Ever since Big Beak called me out, I've been trying to play more fair. I think it might be a you problem.
I think
might be
it's
a skill
backfiring.
issue.
I think it's backfiring. I think that I'm expecting you to not play fair.
Yeah, that
But anyway-
I threw a wrench in that dynamic.
But anyway, Big Beak won that letterbox game, so yay!
Yay.
Good job. I mean, you're the Santa Claus expert. I really can't.
Yeah,
complain.
you
I am the
actually
Santa
have good
Claus.
theories about it. So
I built the lore, you know.
The Santa Claus lore is deep at this point. We've got all sorts of stuff. We got him going to jail. We got him dying a fuck ton. We got
the thing about the
Jess's skin
sex
looking
line.
good.
We got the elf hit squad.
Elf hit squad. That's good.
So early in the film, Scott Calvin makes a remark saying 1-800-SPANK-ME. Unfortunately, that is a real sex phone line, and kids started dialing it, so they had to dub it over with some other gibberish that does not exist.
Well, what specifically happened was it was called by a child in Washington, and their phone bill incurred a $400 charge, which in 2023 is $777. So legally, they
That kid
changed it.
stayed on the line for a while.
Yeah.
Hi! Do you want a spanking? No, I don't. I get those when I'm bad.
So
call
as
for
of
the Santa Claus, you stay
1999,
for the
that
spanking.
exchange has been changed.
Wait, Andrew, you be the phone sex lady.
What?
Jeez.
Right.
First this, and then
Screaming.
you gotta
Wow, really?
supercut this with the comments about
Finishing before Andrew's done.
yeah.
Hello.
Hello? Is Santa there?
I can't tell. Are you a child or is this racist?
No, I am a child.
Yeah, Santa's here. Have you been naughty?
I hope I haven't. My mom says I've been good.
Well, I might have to check that list more than once.
This has gotten officially too weird. All right.
This was your idea.
I know.
Yeah, this
I
is your
didn't know-
plan.
I was hoping Andrew would take it somewhere. I usually just throw the ball in the air and he hits it someplace.
Look, your
Where-
idea
Andrew,
here was a little
let's
too out there.
let's you and me do it, Andrew. You be the child phoning in, I'll be the phone sex operator.
Oh yeah, sure. Ring ring. Ring ring.
I'm on break.
Ring ring.
Someone answer that phone!
Don't answer the phone!
Hello. 1-800
Hello.
Spank Me. How can I spank you today?
Hello, I saw a Tim Allen movie. Want spank bad, please.
$700.
That'll be $700.
$400 at the time.
How hard would you
$700
spank
in 20
me?
That'll be $700 in 2024. I just calculate all my numbers completely randomly. That'll be $900 in 2025. You know, inflation's gonna really get fucked next year.
I'm actually from the future. I just know inflation really well.
Yeah. God, can you imagine that if somebody right today was just like, yeah, you know, that $100 you got in your pocket, that's going to be worth like $50 in 10 years.
Thank you, sad fairy.
Thank you. Use time travel for this?
It's okay. Just kill a CEO and then assume their
Yeah.
power.
Well, you gotta check their business card first, because not every business uses the Santa
true.
Claus.
Yeah. By the way, allegedly, don't kill people. Although I will wonder, like, you know, like all these other jobs, like if a criminal kills a cop, does he become a cop?
No.
It depends. Like Zootopia, that does happen.
Like the Navy SEAL that killed Bin Laden, is he like living as Bin Laden now?
No, I think he's still would have been Navy SEAL.
Didn't he like come out and say something like about fucking little boy, like fucking men or something? Like,
Yeah, maybe.
Oh,
so
shit. Yeah,
maybe
maybe it does work like that.
I don't want to Google that, so we'll just go with that.
It was like the day before the election. It was just like a bunch of like teen boys. He's like, I used to fuck men like you in prison and make them my wife. It was like something weird where he's like, I want to fuck you 3 like men. And it's like, that's a weird thing. What an odd thing to say.
We've gone off the rails, kid.
Welcome to the Santa Claus review on the Broadway Podcast Network.
Our skin looks great today.
Just I gotta put like a little award over the #1 podcast on
just
the Broadway
a small
Podcast
trophy
Network.
falling into frame.
How fucking sad is that? That, you know, the other podcast got Cynthia Erivo, Ariana Grande. This is the
We're
podcast that beat them the fuck out.
Look, we're just funnier than they are.
We're just little chaos.
The cheese wheel cannot be stopped. We are rolling down the hill at speed, ready to crush the city below us.
We are underneath the train that is being derailed at this moment. We are spinning at full speed.
We are the wheels of the toxic gossip train as it's coming down the tracks.
It's gonna hit the towers.
Falling off the roof.
We are Santa.
We are the ones
honestly,
that murdered Santa.
So what's our takeaway?
I haven't murdered Santa. I haven't murdered anyone, as far as I know.
As far as I know.
He murdered the previous Big Beak.
Yeah, unless I killed a YouTuber with 100,000 subscribers. Hey.
Oh, how many Big Beaks were before you, though?
It depends who I was ripping off that week.
Speaking of ripoffs, what is our overall thoughts on our cheese ratings?
Didn't we just play the letterbox game? What the fuck even is that?
We derailed.
We derailed hard.
I will say the letterbox game did move to the second half of the show.
Okay. I don't know.
Post rebrand. I get how that would feel confusing.
Oh my god, I don't know the structure anymore.
It's all off.
It's supposed to like it leading us into the mid show. It is now coming us out of the mid show. Just keep people listening, you know. Stick around through the ads.
#1 podcast.
Yeah. Fuck y'all. That's the #1, everybody.
We're #1, baby.
Big Beak, why don't you start?
Yeah, this is, you know, a Christmas movie. I watched it. I watch it every year for Christmas. You know, for some reason, you know, watching a movie that is based around Christmas on Christmas makes the movie seem watchable. So yeah, you know, I think I gave this like a 6 out of 10 on Letterboxd. I think that's what the critic consensus was. That's like basically what it is. You know, it's fine. It's got a lot of implications for the Santa Claus lore that they will completely ignore in the next 2 movies. You know,
like
I was trying because I was trying very hard to like not get derailed by talking about the Santa Claus 2 and like where the previous Santa's wife went. I think that's just because nobody's been Santa long enough for that clause to kick in.
No, she dies with him.
They die together. It's like a romantic thing.
If we're referring to the Santa Claus's TV show, they do dive into that quite a bit.
Jess, no one cares about the Santa Claus's
cares.
TV show. Only you do.
I can't stand it when like a new piece of media or like the author will like suddenly try to justify like their batshit lore. You know, like they gotta like, oh well, all these questions that people are asking on the internet, I gotta respond to that. Like, no, you fucking don't.
The fact they wrote in why Jim O'Heir picked Scott Calvin is insane. Like, why would you write that in? Like,
yeah,
like what the fuck?
I picked the guy whose roof I was gonna like slip a disc on. Like
that's impossible.
It was. I mean, the implication is he staged the fall, basically. But
I mean, honestly, that was definitely staged.
Yeah.
Like, I think that dude did not want to be Santa.
I prefer the theory that he just didn't like being Santa after a couple houses, so he's like, I'm just gonna die.
I think it was one house. He lasted exactly 20 minutes as Santa. He got into the sleigh. He went to Scott Calvin's house. He couldn't figure out the chimney. He wasn't holding the bag at all. He did not know how to be Santa. Like you be Santa by holding the bag up and then the bag sucks you into the chimney. He was like walking up to the chimney and like measuring it with his hands. He was like eyeing that shit up like, okay, how the fuck am I going to do this?
He had no idea.
That dude did not know what to do.
Reindeer wanted him to die.
Yeah.
There was one other stat I wanted to throw out. I'm sorry to derail cheese rings really quick, but I think it's actually very important to think about, and I don't imagine this ever happening again. For 1 week in 1994, Tim Allen had the #1 movie at the box office with The Santa Claus, the #1 rated TV show with Home Improvement, and #1 New York Times best-selling book titled Don't Stand Too Close to a Naked Man.
That sounds awful.
What I'm saying is the 90s were a terrible time, and taste was always bad.
The last credit Tim Allen has in film is a documentary called No Safe Spaces, which features Adam Carolla and Ann Coulter.
Is it good?
Ooh, Ann Coulter? I love Ann
It has
Coulter.
mixed to negative reviews.
That's surprising.
Yeah.
The sad part
Anyway,
is,
good for Tim Allen. I'm really glad his career is, taking the trajectory it has. I'm very,
he's getting a new
for
network sitcom coming out soon, so he's doing fine.
He's going to get a whole 2 viewers to watch it on network TV.
Yep.
For an ex-felon, he's doing great. Almost as good as the press of it.
As a person that now watches a network show regularly, I am that trash. So.
Yep. Cheese ratings. Big Beak, go.
Oh, I don't know. What's a Christmas cheese? What cheese do people eat at Christmas?
Just Google Christmas cheese and keep scrolling. Till something comes up. That's what we do.
No.
Yeah, my rating is, it's very important to think about it. It's a really complicated kind of thing to think about. I'm really, I do think that my cheese is going to be
#1 rated show on this podcast.
It's going to be, oh, fuck it. It's just going to be some Gouda. Because I feel like that's a 6 out of 10 cheese. It's a cheese that you think is going to be good, and then you put it in your mouth, and you're like, oh, it's okay.
All right, Andrew, you're next.
Santa Claus is it's a bit weird, and it's fine. I gotta say, I kept expecting things to come up that I've realized now were all from the second movie. So I feel like I'm more excited to talk about the Santa Claus 2 than I was to talk about the Santa Claus. That said, it's interesting to talk about Santa being murdered over and over again. I do like that theory quite a bit because it does make sense that Santa is so inexperienced and falls off the roof because he just became Santa. That is a good theory. I'd love to hear Tim Allen's take on that.
I think the implication is that Scott Calvin has broken into many houses before. He's very skilled.
It's true, especially with the use of that magic bag. It makes it pretty easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, he ratted on all of his friends for drug possession.
Funny guy, that Tim Allen.
What a funny man, that Tim Allen.
So, cheese rating. I'm gonna give it Denny's cheesecake, even though they are sold out.
We're out.
That's hilarious, Liz.
I like the Santa Claus, but I think I watched the Santa Claus 2 more often because a lot of the scenes I remember didn't come up, and I was like, oh, that's in the second one. Like, there's more Bernard in the second one. There's more of all the stuff I remember in the second one. And the first one's fine. It's a good movie. It's good to just put on and watch. It's not like the best of the series, but like there's a lot in that series, and it kind of gets weird. It's a weird movie. It's really fucking weird. But yeah, it's enjoyable enough. If you haven't seen it, I would check it out. I'm going to give it the Santa Claus 1994, a grilled cheese which it's shaped like a Christmas tree because it's kind of
that.
It's kind of mid, but it's Christmassy and it's good enough.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Liz, I so thought you were like, I am giving the cheese rating of the Santa Claus 1994. I'm like, oh my god, no one's ever tried that.
You know, I would have done that, but I have been moving furniture and all my belongings for the past 2 days, and my brain rot is at peak. So I'm not clever enough.
My skin looks great. Santa Claus.
I feel that, Liz. Moving fucking sucks.
It sucks.
The Santa Claus is a movie. Disney made it in 1994. I have watched it several times. I think it has charm to it. I think it's a good time. I think that while we picked it apart like fucking nitpicky assholes, if you've got a little brat, you'll probably have a good time. He'll shut up and look at it. I think it's inoffensive, and you will get a few jokes for the audience. Judge Reinhold needed a better career. My cheese rating is... Are we ready to Jess picks on a niche couple of strangers?
Oh, God.
Oh, God, Jess.
There is a place in Houston, Texas called Legal Cheese. Now, I'm just going to read you their About page really quick. This is a woman and minority-owned family business serving the Houston, Texas area. One of us is a lawyer by day, the other a bartender by night, both with a passion for service and years of experience in two very different worlds of business. We are combining these backgrounds to create a boutique charcuterie experience.
Did you Google business cheese?
I Googled legal cheese, and this was the first thing. But, this website is to be seen, and most of their photos, if you don't mind me showing, is them in Star Wars cosplay together.
Oh, that's kind of cute.
That's actually really cute. That's adorable.
Good for them.
I hope that they make it because their charcuterie boards don't actually look that bad. Like this is fine. Like I think this is impressive. So if you are in the greater Houston area, I highly recommend Legal Cheese, and that is my cheese rating this week.
Good luck writing that down, Juliet, but...
Just like a business?
A business that makes cheese.
It's like saying, like, oh, yeah, I recommend United Healthcare Incorporated as my cheese of the week for this.
You know what? It's apt.
Good pick.
Honestly, get Bernard out there to help Luigi.
Bernard shows up like in the jail cell, like Luigi, like, you know, you've been here for 11 months. It's time to come to the South Pole where we do all the insurance claims.
You're expected by Thanksgiving.
You have 11 months to get your affairs in order. You're due back here Thanksgiving. It just like appears in like the claims adjuster's office. And like Charlie's there. He's like, we're trying to make, we're going to make sure that like you're safe. That's the CEO.
My back really hurts though.
God damn, that's so fucking sad. It's all just so sad.
No, it's hilarious.
And we as humans just observing this are trying to extract any amount of humor we can from just a tragedy.
Speaking of tragedies, thank you for listening. Big Beak, why don't you promote your stuff for the world to see?
Yeah, I'm Big Beak Entertainment. Come follow me on YouTube for my shit posting video game content. Why the fuck am I on this show again? My video game content on the Cheese Wheel on the Broadway Podcast Network.
Because you make good content, and honestly, we have enough overlap where I just like having a lot of things on. We're gonna do video games in 2025, though. Like we've already set plans in motion.
Don't get me wrong. I'm very grateful that you have me on your show. It's really a great time every time.
Yeah, and it was very nice of you to promote us in your recent Peanuts episode. That was a very nice thing that you did, and I appreciate that.
Well, I just hope some people watch it. I hope some people are watching it now. If you're a subscriber and you found the Cheese Wheel through me plugging a podcast that no longer exists and musicals with cheese, shout out in the comments of this podcast.
You can leave comments on Spotify, so
yeah, we've gotten a lot of really nice comments on Spotify.
Yeah,
I'm actually impressed by the engagement. Like we jumped up in engagement as soon as we started doing videos, so I kind of have to be like fucking begrudging, like God damn it.
I mean, it is nice to put it's nice to have like the live Andrew reaction as like Jess talks about his skin or just reads some shit off a website and he looks totally unamused, just like, oh my God, this fucking guy and his nice skin.
I just don't know where we found this dude. Honestly.
Yeah. Where's Brent?
You would fire me if you could. We don't have a wheel to spin for next week because next week we are doing a Patreon requested episode, I believe from Ewan. And that is
those are always great.
Rocket Man.
Oh, that's a great one.
You would think, like in theory, that should make sense, right?
Oh wait, I'm sorry, I'm thinking of the Rocketeer.
No,
yeah.
Okay.
That would have been a good one. But no, the Elton John biopic film, or as I call it, Walk Hard with Elton John songs. Yeah, come sit for that next week, kids. Have a Merry Christmas to all and to Happy Kwanzaa. Do we all want to end on a Christmas song? I'm not promoting our stuff. That's your Christmas gift. I'm not promoting
Merry holidays. Throw your local holiday figure off a roof and assume their identity and pick up their job. It's free employment. I don't know how much Santa gets paid, but he gets to live at a house in the North Pole, away from like his son and family and everybody he knows, and that's probably the best case scenario.
Let's not pretend he was that involved in his son's life.
No, that's my point. Is like, honestly, like that's pretty great. Like that nobody cares that Scott Calvin is missing for the next 40 years while he assumes the role of Santa Claus.
He's dead. Scott Calvin died.
Scott Calvin doesn't exist. I don't know what you're talking about. They had a funeral and everything.
Yeah, we literally watched it happen. He got replaced with Santa Claus. He's dead.
That's true. He was arrested, and then I guess technically he's a fugitive. At the end of the
he can't come back.
He was arrested. He escaped prison, and then he's still wanted.
Yeah. Actually, he didn't go to prison. He was in the interrogation room. They got him out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So he wasn't formally arrested.
What are you singing?
Why are you humming that song?
Is this the end of the Charlie Brown Christmas?
No, it's
I almost said that one.
Time is here. That's that song.
That's the start of it.
At the end, they just all go
Play it
and then
here,
Charlie
Andrew.
Brown comes up and he's like, "What the fuck is this shit?"
And then they all scream like they have nothing better to do.
Merry Christmas, Charlie Brown. Hark the herald angels.
They peek the mics. It's great.
I love the early Peanuts because like they did not record those kids at the same time. They are not in sync.
It's great. It makes it charming. It's like a podcast recording. Have a good holidays. We'll see you next week, kids. Bye-bye.